I don't know. I just feel like your book's important. I'm really excited about it. Again, also hear your opinions on episodes.
Right.
So that should be interesting. Fee, you need to start watching Star Trek. Thank you.
I told you he was going to do that. I told you.
Got a guide you
I
can
said I
buy.
was scared because you
Yeah.
felt it too, didn't you?
So
But
that's one thing I'm going to say. You need to watch Star Trek. Yeah, even old Star Trek. How did you feel about Star Trek: The Motion Picture? Because a lot of people don't like the motion picture. I personally like it, but a lot of people don't like the motion picture.
It's a bit of an odd duck. It was you can sort of tell it's been hammered together from bits and pieces that were intended for a TV series.
Yep.
And the bits don't always gel. So like the first half is really super concerned with the relationship between Kirk and Decker. And then as soon as Ilea is killed and replaced by a probe, all of that Kirk and Decker stuff just goes away.
Yep.
It hasn't been resolved. It hasn't built to anything. It hasn't got us anywhere. It just stops. And then for about 45 minutes, everyone on board tries to find out if Ilea is still inside the probe or not, which is a fair enough thing for them to try and do, but that doesn't go anywhere either. It's just a thing to keep them occupied. And then eventually they discover that, spoiler for a 1979 movie, that V'Ger is Voyager. And then the ending is actually pretty good. What I think is really interesting is that the one character who does have quite a good arc through that movie is Spock. And looking behind the scenes, I think that's because Spock almost wasn't in it. They had a script basically ready to go, and virtually weeks before filming started, I think it was Robert Wise's daughter said, "But Daddy, you can't have a Star Trek movie without Spock in it." And they had one more go at getting Leonard Nimoy to sign on, and this time they were successful. So then somebody had to sit down and think, "Oh God, what is Spock's journey through this film?" But Spock's the only character for which that question has been asked and answered.
Yeah,
everybody else has stuff to do because there were all these bits and pieces of scripts knocking around from Star Trek Phase 2 that have been hammered together. But no one sat down and gone, "Well, hang on a minute, where do we meet Kirk and where does he end up?" Let alone, God help us, Scotty or Uhura or even Bones. It's just giving them stuff to do. But Spock has an arc, and particularly in the recently released director's cut, where some Spock material that was cut has been reinstated, I think that is very effective. And his sort of discovering his humanity in the machine creature is really affecting. But it is still kind of a mess.
It is a mess.
I haven't rewatched that.
Decker, that whole thing was supposed to spin off into a new show.
Yeah,
like,
with Shatner in like every 50
tell, like it was all like you couldn't tell if this was a movie or a show. Like it was really.
So it was kind of like the Frankenstein of past creations.
Yeah, because
what's amazing is
they have moments where it felt like you're watching Doom. Like everything was just focused on special effects here and there, and then and then it was like a mesh hodgepodge of like, is this a show or a movie? Like the tension was really weird. Like scripts it was just rough. It's
like
rough.
weirder
What's
than
amazing
a blind date.
is that Wrath of Khan was kind of written in the same way. There were all these scripts knocking around that nobody really liked, and Nicholas Meyer had come on board as director, but there wasn't a script that anyone was going to sign off on. So he said, "Okay, tell me all the things you like in these like 10 scripts, and if there's enough material there, I'll try and turn that into one script." And the producer, Harv Bennett, looks at him and went, "I mean, you can try, but we start shooting in 2 weeks." And Nicholas Meyer was young and stupid, and he said, "I think I could do this in 2 weeks." And Harv Bennett said, "Nick, we couldn't do your deal in 2 weeks." So the reason that he doesn't have a screenplay credit for Star Trek 2 is that he didn't have a deal. He just wrote it, trusting that the studio would look after him.
And
he had the sense
Star Trek movies ever.
Because he had the sense to start with, who is Captain Kirk and where is he in his life, and use a lot of the other science fiction stuff about Genesis and Khan from Space Seed and so on to shine a light on who this guy is.
Wow.
And that's what makes that such a good film. And apart from the
start with
that nasty little ending. Yeah, no spoilers for Fee.
I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I promise. I'm all right.